And
Beautiful. All right. I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm just gonna pin the join Zoom meeting link. There we go, so that people can join if they want to. That way they can
sweet.
watch along. All right. Okay. Well, let's just start with how are you this morning, sweets?
I got my run in. Let's talk like physically. I got my
Okay.
run in. I got a good night's sleep. I'm eating some potatoes, drinking some strawberries, some bananas, and some oranges. So
Beautiful.
physically, I think we're doing okay.
Beautiful.
Um, I'm glad we have this meeting because I was kind of spinning my wheels on getting Wayspace compatible with Vol FM, and I think it's good to rip me out so that we can kind of check in for a bit. But overall, I think I got a lot of what we talked about done and a lot more to be able to test today. How are you
Great.
feeling today?
Good. All the IPFS is done. I edited all the code. I have all the JSON files both, in that Google Sheet ready to go for you. I also have it and for people that might watch in the Zoom, you'll get a chance to see it most likely today or tomorrow or the next day. The one I do am going to have a question. Oh, thanks Shamanic. Zoom output is your input into Twitter Space Jackpot. Yeah, yeah. But that's something I might be able to set up next time. Even go live on Twitter. Okay, so the question that I'm gonna have for you, I think that's the main one for me, is, and maybe this is just helpful to just share my screen now. That way
Mm-hmm.
we can just get it going. All right. So 1 second. Let's see. This should be the one. All right. So hopefully you should be able to see my spreadsheet now.
Yes.
Cool. So the main thing that I'm wondering about is as far as when I'm in the code here, um,
Mm-hmm.
I, as far as how much I can edit, I didn't go take this step because I wanted to ask you beforehand, and I realized
Mm-hmm.
this is also something that is good to ask about in public so that other people can wonder. Is basically,
Mm-hmm.
I've got credits for these songs that are very customized, like
Yep.
for example, creative advisor or dev, or if you want to go by music NFT engineer, that's cool too, of course.
Yep.
And
Yes.
and I wanted to ask as far as those credits, if that's the kind of thing where, like, for example,
Oh
um,
my goodness.
under here, we kind of like under ISRC, for example, we put in credits, or if there's a place that you
I'm
think would make
sorry.
sense, and if that's even okay.
It is totally okay, and the fact that it's not in there is just a sign that I need to update the metadata generator. I just sent you a link in the meeting for the gist that is the full music metadata standard. If you want to open that up, this would be good to just quickly talk through where you're going to add your credits in.
Cool. Oh,
So
beautiful.
this
Thank you. I'll
this
just
was made by Catalog. This is what we used when I was building out Mint songs. This is the standard. It has this is the
awesome.
like official standard built by Brett at Catalog. And so if you
Okay.
Command F in here for credits,
Whoops. Uh-huh.
this is the schema for how you'll add your credits. So there's
Okay.
already an object, and let's talk through adding one in. So credits is an array, and so you'll have an array of credits, and
Uh-huh.
each credit will have two attributes: a name, which will be the name of the credit, and
Uh-huh.
then a collaborator type, which is whatever your label is for their type.
Okay.
Both of those can be whatever you want, but that'll be how we'll set it up.
Okay.
Does it make sense, the schema?
Yes, definitely.
Let's jump into an implementation. Let's go back over to your metadata and
Yep.
yeah, copy that word credits if
Yeah.
you want. And then
Let me copy that real quick. And I think I should go to that comma. That looks right. And then
mhm.
I'll bring this up here. You can see this, right?
Yep.
All right. So this is like for one of them, for example. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just thinking about where it makes sense to put it.
Does not matter. I
Okay.
usually put it at the end, but the ordering does not matter.
Okay. Yeah, let me just put it at the end then.
It will need to be inside, so directly after lossless audio, but before that
Oh,
closing
I see.
bracket,
I see. I see. Right, because that's
it
the
needs to
final
be
closing
inside of.
bracket. Okay, gotcha.
Mhm. Yep. And then I think you'll need a comma after lossless audio now, at the end of the
Okay,
string in lossless audio.
got it. All right.
Okay.
And then it looks
There
like there's
we
one
go.
more red line because I have a comma here.
Good
All right.
catch.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. So
Good.
now
You copied the whole schema, and we'll want to change it a little bit just so that it's the actual implementation of the schema.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
schema has a couple extra things that, like, it has descriptions about what it is.
Uh-huh.
We're going to reduce this, so you can. I'm going to go ahead and say delete everything that's after the colon of credits, and you're going to make it a hard bracket.
Okay. Everything after the colon.
Yep, keep going all the way till the end of this, where we're going to kind of do it from scratch.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. So
Through line
till
85.
all the way there.
Perfect. Yeah, delete that, and then we're going to do opening, closing hard brackets.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Inside of that hard bracket, we're going to do a set of curly braces,
Okay. Yep.
and then hit enter to make this a new line.
Uh-huh.
And now we're going to have two fields in here. One is name. So, yep, now type out name.
Should it
And
be
I believe
lowercase or?
it should be lowercase, and you can copy these if you want from the gist. It'd probably be best if you just copy these from the gist that I sent.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep, you see name there in collaborator type.
Got it.
And again, you don't need to copy the whole thing. It has extra info, just the key, just the word name and the word collaborator type.
Okay. So let me grab this.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then you'll do it, yep, and then great.
Okay.
Great. And so this is one credit. You'll put a colon after name, and then you're going to enter in one of your collaborators' names in inside
Oh, in quotes. Yep, yep.
And then you'll do the same thing for collaborator type.
Okay. And then so colon and then I've got my credits here. So it'll be writer. Okay. And
And
then
throw a comma after the jack in the way.
did you say a comma?
Correct.
Got it. And then
There we go.
comma after this as well.
No comma after that.
Okay.
There's only two attributes. So that is one credit.
Aha.
Boom.
Aha. Aha. Got it.
And now it's an array of credits. And so now you would just copy that object and then add a comma between your objects and then do an object for each of your collaborators.
Okay. Like that within those both brackets or the blue. I forget the type of bracket you were saying.
You're going to copy the whole curly bracket.
Got it. Got it.
There you go. And then after the first set of curly brackets, put a comma to say there's another item in this array.
Uh-huh.
And now paste.
Got it.
Boom. Now you've got a second credit,
Cool.
and you can change that up.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Jack in the way will be performer.
Perfect.
Oh, I got to do a comma. Let me get the comma there so that I can copy it later. All right. And then our next one is going to be so maybe as far as time is concerned, would it make sense for us to go through this first one so that I have a template for myself and then offline I can do the rest on my own?
That sounds perfect.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for taking this time for us to be able to go through this now.
I can't believe I didn't have it in the generator. Sorry that you were over there like trying to imagine creative ways to add in credits when I just didn't.
No, you're good. I'm glad I didn't do anything because now I get to learn it from you directly. All right, so then mixer, and then I'm gonna go with. I did the nice thing is this is simple because on the first track I did basically everything as far as the actual assets. So this is a nice, easy, simple one for us. Okay, and then it'll be creative advisor is singnasty. Advisor. I remember when you were doing this part with JMac on the onboarding spaces, and you all were talking about what each person's role wants to be. I assume you were on this screen, like you're doing it like this.
I was driving in that call, and so this is the first time I've been on a call where their musician has driven this, and so it's nice to see you going from learning about it to now executing without me having to drive.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you.
You're learning the way.
Being in the front seat with me. So do you want dev or do you like music NFT engineer or what?
I like music NFT engineer. If I'm getting a Nobel Prize, I want it for being in the music NFT engineer.
And engineer spelled out, right?
Yes, in credits spelled out. I'll write it here, and I'm modifying the Google Sheet right now.
Okay, cool. Oh, thank you. Oh, okay, I did it.
There you go.
All right, cool. Okay, so that's the credits for this one. So I'll get rid of that comma, and that's cool, and that's good.
Those look beautiful. I love seeing long credits on chain because this
Hell
once it's
yeah.
stored on IPFS, it's there forever, and so
Hell yeah.
people will always be able to reference these credits.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so just to show, especially since we're recording, to show the full process. Also, hey everybody on Twitter Spaces, what's up? Um, all right, so let me just copy. I saved it already. Let me copy this. Just for the sake of consistency, I have a generations tab here where I have the IPF. I have the raw stuff from your generator where they're like to dos and stuff, and then I have the edits. So I'm just gonna update these edits, and then I'm going to the JSON file is cool. I'm just gonna grab the JSON from my folders. Pardon the navigation here. So there's the JSON file, and we can check it out. It's called Welcome Back. If we look, there it is. Beautiful. And now I'm gonna go into NFT up so that I can grab a new IPFS URL. I'm gonna grab that, and then I'll just update it. So now it's good there. And then the last thing I'm going to do, just for the sake of consistency, is go to my Google Drive and go to here. And I have JSON files on Google Drive just in case they're needed there. And so then I'm going to delete this one and replace it with the new one. Okay.
Well,
All right. So that's the whole process. So that's what I'll do for each one. And I'm so glad that I get to have the credits exactly with everybody's names in there. Cool.
wow. I'm glad you got this on film, you walking through this, and we'll put it up on
Thank you.
YouTube. If you are in the Twitter space and you want to see what we're doing, Jack has pinned the Zoom link to the top in the Jumbotron, so feel free to join and get a peek. And if you're listening to the recording afterwards, we'll probably reply to the recording with a link to the video if you want to watch it as well.
For sure. Definitely will. Definitely will. Okay, so let's move on. So, Sweets, what you got for me?
Let's ship it. Maybe, I don't know if we've done a room set yet talking about where we're at in the process and what the
Sure.
timeline is. So
Let's do
maybe
that.
you can talk to us a little bit about Wayspace and give us a drop on the high level on the album as a whole. What is this project? What are we
Yes.
doing today?
Yes. Thank you for that. Okay, sounds great. So what is Wayspace, everybody? Wayspace is both my debut album and my debut NFT collection. Not that I haven't released any NFTs or minted any NFTs, but this is the first one. Well, first of all, it's the first one that's a custom contract. It's the first one I'm getting to work with Sweetman on. It's the first one where I'm learning all of these things that you were just seeing me do. That was sort of like a nice prologue to see, oh yeah, this is us in the weeds. Um, and you know, a lot of the thinking behind this is basically I just want a way to release my music and my designs and my art in a way that feels like it honors every single aspect of the process. So it honors the music, of course, it honors the people who are credited on the album. I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to onboard every single collaborator I had. Like anybody that's worked on this album now has an ETH wallet. They are in the 0x splits, and to me that's like the biggest success of this thing. So beyond that, it's like I want to honor the fact that I want to make lyric videos for every single one. So that's part of the airdrops for people that collect each week. I want it to be so that you get a visualizer, so that every single asset that is part of an album rollout is properly honored and allowed the chance for people to appreciate in a real way that feels tangible to me. And it makes it feel worth it to me to actually create the stuff. You know, it's beyond just that I enjoy it in the moment, but I actually get to see people enjoy it because it's part of collecting this album. It's not just the music. It's everything that comes along with the music for me. Um, so all that said, where we're at right now is we are in the process of basically taking all of the assets that I have finished creating, making sure that the metadata is appropriate for what I want to do. So what I was just doing was editing some of the code that was generated from Sweets' metadata generator so that it's custom to my project. And that's, as Sweet showed me, it's very easy to do that. Just with it, you just need a couple apps and a few things to show you around. I will say though, I guess the other thing you need is a lot of interest in doing it, which I do have, and so that's a big part of it. Um, and then after, like, beyond that thing, because that some of that stuff I'm going to do offline between now and tomorrow so that it's ready for tomorrow as far as the credits and the metadata is concerned. We're also in a place where we're really just kind of like testing out the functionality. I imagine, and I'll pass this off to Sweets to talk about, is basically, you know, looking at the minting site, seeing how it functions, testing it on, you know, a test net, making sure that we can go in and purchase and things like that. One of the things that you'll get a chance to see that'll be really cool is the something that's come out of my sort of mantra for this project of rewarding early supporters without punishing newcomers, which is that there's going to be a mechanism for each drop each week where 2 songs are going to drop and be available to mint. But if you decide to buy them both within that first week, you can get it for a bundle sale price, basically. And it's a way of rewarding people that are willing and able to jump on it quick and see the value in it early on. Of course, that doesn't mean that it'll be closed off in the future, but those are the kinds of things that we're going to be checking out today and looking at, and really this weekend, to make sure we get it right. And then later on, we'll do things like maybe on Monday, potentially Sunday a little bit, but definitely Monday for sure before we deploy. You know, going through deployment, making sure that the design looks how we want it to look. We're not doing like too much like fancy UI or anything, but you know, just basic stuff like getting the hex codes for the colors that I want. You know, getting the font styles, what we're looking at, and things like that to keep it simple. Hey everybody, who if you just joined the Twitter space, welcome. If you'd like, feel free to join the Zoom at the public link that's in the Jumbotron, as Sweet said. I'm gonna use that for now on Jumbotron. Cool. So that's basically hopefully like a bit of a room reset, a little bit of context building. Appreciate you sticking with us so far. Sweets, anything you'd like to add, and then feel free to just take it away.
Yeah, really have been loving your vision of creating this music in a way that honors everybody. I do a lot in music NFTs, and it's nice to be working on this project and to have so many different ways to express the art that you're creating. Like you released your video on Zora Creator, and that was nice on Twitter. I was able to collect that and then share it as a digital collectible on Instagram. And as this album's dropping, to be able to just like talk about it on Instagram in a way that references the direct NFT, and to be leveraging so many NFTs in so many different ways is very awesome to me. Like you're spitting out a lot of NFTs in this one drop. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. There's a bundle mechanism. You're doing a lot of different mechanisms around these NFTs, but you're just like spitting out NFTs left and right that are like moments in time along this. And I love being a part of that, just like ship out tons of NFTs, because I think a lot of people are focusing on the scarcity, and you're focusing on like, this is a really cool album. I want to lower the barrier to entry. I want this in everybody's wallet in some capacity. However many copies of this moment in time or this experience from now till Halloween, that's up to how much of a super fan you are. And so at the end of this, you'll see like, wow, Sweets really fucked with the whole journey, and you'll be able to see I collected every single thing. And other people, you had 30 people on the map. How many people will carry over from the map through the entire thing to the end? Right. And like, you can start to see who was really a part of this journey and which parts were they a part of, because every single piece is optional. The 4 pieces where I think we're at, I think both of us are focused on different things. Jack is focused on metadata. I'm focused on minting. To recap, my mindset around the 4 stages of music NFTs. The first one is metadata. Metadata is the most important, which is why Jack the creator is focused on it. It is what allows us to do every other part. Second part is minting. That's where I've been focused. We have a purchase, which is going to be leveraged on Vol FM. So if you just want to call it without referencing a token, it will buy the latest token that's available. There's also going to be buying a specific edition. So you can pick whatever song you want out of the 12-song album, and you can buy that. We also have a bundle mechanism where you can buy any quantity of the bundle, which will sell at a discount the latest 2 songs in the drop. And those are our minting functions. And I've got those, most of them are close. We'll talk through some of them today. The third and the fourth are marketplace and metaverse, and those we can tweak after the fact. And so I think where we're at is Jack is focused on wrapping up the metadata, because that's something we won't be able to change after we ship the contract, so it needs to be done by Monday. And then I'm working on the minting functions, the mechanisms for people to be able to buy it on the smart contract. I think there's enough here for us to get by Monday, and I think our goal right now should try to be maybe even potentially our first storefront is not building our own storefront, it's leveraging an existing storefront of Vol FM. And then that way we can work on being composable. And then the second storefront after that is going to be our own custom site. And the reason I'm talking about these like in order of operations is because the selling experience is going to be until Halloween. We're going to have like a month and a half to continue to sell this. We can tweak the UI and we can build out more UIs as we're going to like make the experience better that represents the contract. The thing that we really need to lock in right now is the smart contract itself, because once we ship the contract, we won't be able to make changes once it's on Ethereum mainnet. It will be immutably there. And so you're focusing on the metadata, which won't change after we ship it. I'm focusing on the contract and the minting functions, which won't change until we ship it. And I'm focused on building the contract so that it will plug into Bull FM and Zora Drops. I'm not focused on the UI right now. And I think my goal will be to wrap up the smart contract and be able to move on to the UI. But in my head, I think I'm kind of deprioritizing the UI right now to make sure we really get the smart contract locked in place, because we have so much flexibility with the UI later on.
Yes. Hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we get it into Zora, I'm pretty sure I could embed that onto a website that I put together. So I completely agree with the aspect of we don't really need to prioritize UI right now, especially because I have a vision that'll be ready to, come together when it comes. Cool. All right. Awesome. Okay.
So now I think I'd like to send you the deployment link that will go off today, and we can start shipping and we can test out where we're at, and then we can talk more while we're testing, if that's cool.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. Let me just share my screen again. Here we go. All right. You can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. All right, great. Okay. All right. So is this in a place where I should just go ahead and hit deploy now? Anything you want to talk through? Okay.
Yesterday you were on version 1.0.10, I believe. So we've shipped 5 version upgrades since yesterday.
Nice.
I don't know if there's a ton to talk through. We've shifted from a technical aspect. If you're listening to this as an engineer, we shifted from using Hard Hat to Foundry for our build tools and our unit tests. I also added in a ton of unit tests to verify the bundle functionality, making sure that people can't buy before or after the sale starts and ends, and some of the other metadata rendering. But it was a lot of infrastructure set up in setting up unit tests and making sure that the purchase was ready. No, we're good to deploy now. So let's try the deploy now, and let's see how it looks if we can put in all 12 of your metadata. Let's get that in there.
Oh boy. All right, let's do it. Cool. All right. Okay, so let me just pull this to side by side so that both people watching and me can see them both. All right. Okay, so I'm assuming we're just going to go open close brackets and go one at a time here with commas in like this way.
Yep,
correct?
and make sure they're strings.
Make sure they're strings.
So you'll have quote before and after the IPFS.
Yes. I'm for those watching, I'm an artist still learning the fundamentals. Like that string means you need quotes.
Do you have a parenthesis at the end of that IPFS? I might just be looking at it wrong.
No parentheses. It's quote.
Oh,
and then bracket. Do I not?
Yeah, get rid of that bracket. You don't need that bracket.
Just brackets at the beginning and the very end.
Correct. Okay. Correct. Yes. This in the formal term. This is an array of strings, and so each item in the array is a string, and you separate each item with a comma.
Got it. Okay, so that's looking fine. Makes me wonder if I should throw this into here first and then copy and paste it in.
Do it. Yeah. Actually, I was going to recommend that we save this. That way, it's easy to copy and paste next time.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's start over.
That being said, though, it will change since I have to update these. But let me grab this. Okay. Cool. So we're gonna go like that.
Yeah.
And then I'll just do a new line.
Make sure you close your string.
Yes. Thank you. Look at me learning how to dribble. Okay.
Nice. There we go.
All right. Open the string. Oh, that's also nice in here. It closes it automatically for me. Okay. So we're gonna. 3, 4. Okay. Salt. Right.
Good catch.
Okay. What have I done? For artists, yo, like this is a whole new way to have some intimacy with your songs. You know, it's like you're helping these songs learn how to walk.
I saw your reel yesterday with Alex that was like, hey, what are you doing? I don't know.
I'm just doing something.
Is that the energy you feel right now?
Yeah. Nah, honestly, I was just being silly. I was actually having a blast doing this last night. I was up till like 2 a.m. and it was so great. It was just, it was so nice. It was one of those times where like doing something that isn't, maybe doesn't feel immediately directly creative in the same way as like making music does to me is nevertheless so fun. Oh, what happened here? Oh, looks like I didn't get that IPFS. One sec. Good thing that I have all this right here ready to go. So I can throw this into NFT up. Whoops. Let me grab this. And then this will actually be a nice opportunity for a question that I have. Whoopsies. I'm actually good on that. I just need to go here. Bring the JSON in. All right. After this, I'll just stream. Go. Okay. All right. So my question is, those are the 12 songs on the album. Those are the 12 editions. Then we have
Yep.
these ones that are going to be airdropped. Am I just including these as well on there exactly the same way?
You will be. You will be. Yeah, that's how we'll do it. Is you'll just throw it in there and.
Okay. And then we'll deal with how the mechanic of it works later. Seems like. Okay.
I'm making assumptions in the code that there's exactly 14 items, and 12 of those are songs, and then the last 2 are kind of the unlockable content.
Yeah, both the ones that get automatically airdropped when somebody holds all 12 in their wallet. Yeah.
Right.
Which I guess I just revealed that to people. Thanks for being here. You're getting to hear the in and outs of the process. Okay, so here we go. We got it all here. No red lines. That's nice. Copy that.
Yes,
and let's, I'll pull that page away. And now we'll throw that in there.
looking great.
Okay. All right.
Let's ship it.
And then we're cool to just hit deploy now. Mumbai's cool for you, right?
Yep. Yeah. That's perfect.
Great. Okay. Okay. And then it's going to be, it's like testnet.opensea.io/ I'll figure that out later.
Yeah. Once you mint a token.
Oh, yeah. Right. I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
But you remember the steps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we are in a middle place where I do not have this. I'm still working on getting it into VolFM. I think we're gonna go with a metadata renderer, and we'll probably leverage Zora's metadata renderer.
Cool.
Because right now the VolFM architecture is expecting us to leverage a metadata renderer. I was planning on building a lot of our metadata into our contract, and I think we'll still have it in our contract, but we will also leverage Zora's metadata renderer as a way for your metadata to live in the Zora stack as well as in your own custom contract. So it's kind of like your contract is going to update Zora to tell Zora what your new metadata is, and so we'll be leveraging your own custom stack as well as updating Zora all on Ethereum.
Okay. Wow. That sounds wonderful. Okay, cool. Awesome. So we're going to purchase one. I'm in the right place, right?
Before we do that, I wanna show you to where some things I updated. If you scroll down to drops created is what I'm using to tell you how many songs are available. Because before there were only 2 songs available, and now it's like 2 songs up and until the end date. And so I have this so that if it's not on ETH mainnet, the time between drops, I believe there is second between drops down below. If you go to your seconds between drops, because you deployed this on Mumbai and not on ETH mainnet, seconds between drops should be 180. And 180 is the number of seconds for 3 minutes. And so what that means is a new drop should be released once every 3 minutes right now. And so the drops created, if you check that drops created function in 3 minutes, the drops created should go from, right now, I believe it was 2, it should go from 2 to 4. Nice. And then in another 3 minutes, it should go from 4 to 6. And then, so we can check in on this every couple minutes, and then we can buy the latest version. And so right now, there are 2 purchase functions, and I need to add in a third. So let me make a note to add in this third. If you scroll up top, we've got purchase bundle as well as purchase. Yep. The purchase function is standard in Zora drops. And so when people are using interfaces like Vol.fm or even the Zora drops, the purchase function will operate. This will allow you to bring your contract into any interface that works with Zora drops, and they can use your purchase function right out the gate. However, it does not necessarily reflect like you have an album of 12 songs and the purchase function does not allow you to pick what song. There's just a quantity. There's no like what song you want. And so the decision I made, and this is a point to ask your thoughts, it's going to by default buy the highest number available. And so right now with drops created being 2, it's going to buy song number 2. If it's song number, if drops created is 4, it'll sell you song number 4. So it'll the lowest number you can buy with this function is 2. The maximum you can buy is 12, and you can only buy the even numbers throughout the album using this function.
Cool. I like that.
That all makes sense.
There's
Are we okay with that?
Yeah. And if I have it right, that way of doing things, not necessarily that this is the reason for it, but I love that this might be what it allows for, is that if people buy it that way, it's more than likely going to create more scarcity for the first of each 2 drops, because people are more, if someone isn't going to our custom or to our minting site, then they're going to get the second of the 2. And if someone comes to the minting site, not only do they have the opportunity to purchase a bundle, but they have easier access to the first of the 2. And I love that. So that what ends up happening is that odd numbered releases are end up being more scarce than the even numbered. Maybe marginally more scarce, but still, that's pretty cool.
Correct.
Based on date of drop, which is really cool. So awesome. I love it.
So have you already bought one from number 2? Did we execute that yet?
I haven't yet. So let me.
Okay. Let's do it, because we might have missed our chance. It might now be at number 4.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Time keeps on.
I'm just curious to see it too. So now it would buy, if we did just purchase, it would buy the number 4. Okay.
Now it's going to buy number 4. Right.
Yeah. So we want to try, we can test that one, and then we could do the bundle after.
Yeah. Perfect. And actually, can you send us this link to your third web in the Zoom call? That way I can test it, and if anyone else on this call
absolutely
buy and test with us.
Oh yeah.
So if you're in the Zoom call and you want to start buying some of these on testnet, and well, I don't know if I should talk about this.
Shamanic, I apologize for missing some of your messages in here. Let's see if I can tackle them while we're waiting for this to go. Let's see.
I can actually, if you want it, you go for it.
No, please do. I just like
the
thing you said. Ooh,
Lucas Shamanic, I see. So in terms of deploying on third web, what's the advantage of using third web versus something like Manifold? That is a phenomenal question. First off, I want to say I love Manifold, and it's a great tool for creator sovereignty. And so if you're leveraging Manifold, good on you. The reason I use third web is third web allows me to create my contracts locally, and then I can bring them into the third web ecosystem and give that to someone like Jack, he's semi-technical. I'm not going to say non-technical, but then he has a very easy deploy button that allows him to deploy the contract, and it's very easy for me to do that. It's impossible for me to just take my code and leverage it in the Manifold ecosystem. In order for me to expand the Manifold ecosystem, I have to write something module, and it is much more restrictive in terms of my capabilities and what I can do with Jack than if we just go with third web. Third web, Manifold is great if you want to extend the Manifold base contract. We're not expanding the Manifold base contract. We're starting from a base contract that is our own creation, that is like Jack's unique thought. And so if you're starting from scratch, the better place to start if you have custom contracts is Third Web. If you want to start from if you want to start off of Manifold and then expand the Manifold ecosystem, start with Manifold, but they're very different architecture patterns. And if that is more confusing, let me know with an additional question. I love that you're asking that. Your head's in the right place.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts there, Jack?
Yeah, sure. I mean, not necessarily knowledge, but maybe more experience because Manifold was actually what I used for my first ever NFT I minted, which was this music video for a song called In My Head, which you probably saw, Shamanic. Oh, nice. You're using Manifold right now. Yeah. So exactly that, what you're saying right now for a relatively simple project, but looking at other options for bigger, this is your other option for bigger for lack of the complexity of what Sweets was saying. Um, but for me, like I found as a creator that Manifold is nice. It feels like as far as like complexity for creators, and how much maybe labor it takes to do it, which in sometimes you want to do the labor of doing it, is like you have something like Zora Create where it's like very very simple. Like I mean, it's not as simple as something like Catalog where they do it all for you basically. Zora Create is like semi, where you can enter everything in and customize some things, and you also get the benefit of that ecosystem. Manifold is a bit more complex in terms of just going into the dirt a little bit more and getting your hands dirty with a little bit you learn a little bit more in the process. It sounds like you've already been doing that, which is nice. You can make your there's stuff that you can make on there that is just like kind of nice. And then thank you, Sweets. And then this is like the next step. This is for that bigger project like you're saying. And I'm learning the most from this that by far than any of the other stuff. But that being said, I'm glad that I've tried it all, because I think it's worth trying it all. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to this page now. I'll leave it up there.
Yeah, we're on number 6.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't think either of us bought number 4, but I bought the bundle, so I got 5 and 6, like salt, and then.
Okay, what have I done? Yeah, cool. Okay, this is actually a nice opportunity for a question. So the reason, Sweets, the reason why it's just the cover art with the music playing is because my visualizer is such a large file that OpenSea can't process it. Is that correct? And show it?
Do you still have your JSON? So OpenSea is reading from your metadata.
Okay.
And so let's go into one of your metadata files, maybe VS Code.
Yeah. Yeah, so if I go to what have I done, for example, which is the one we're just looking at here, and I'll show it up here.
Yep.
So to give you an idea, actually, this is so under visualizer, I have an MP4 file. It looks like, I can actually open it up just so you can see. It looks like this. So it's just moving a bit more. You know what I mean? It's
right.
Just there we go.
And it has the audio with it as well?
And it has the audio with it. That being said, the animation URL is just the song. And so,
exactly.
And I feel like I remember you saying that the animation URL should be just the audio so that places like SpanAmp and FutureTape can properly have it there because they pull from the animation URL. Is that right? Or should the animation URL be the IPFS to that visualizer?
So OpenSea has no knowledge of your visualizer. OpenSea is reading, when it's loading your audio, it's going to display the image, which you see there is your image. Once it loads your animation URL, it plays your animation URL. And so if your animation URL is a video, it will play the video. If your animation URL is audio, it will play the audio. And so in your case, if you want the visualizer to be showing up in OpenSea, you should put your visualizer as your animation URL. That way in OpenSea, your visualizer will play. And then let's keep your lossless audio as the MP4. That way, and this will be a great clip for us.
Lossless audio is MP4. Did I hear that right?
I'm sorry.
Wave.
Wave. You're correct.
Wave.
Wait.
Cool.
Yeah. This is a great example to send if we take this clip and send it to SpanAmp and FutureTape as to like, because right now SpanAmp and FutureTape are probably just reading from animation URL.
Yeah.
And so this would be a great thing to call out to be like, our metadata includes lossless audio, and so we have the attribute. We're building this with the thought that what we want to show up in OpenSea is different from what we want to be consumed in SpanAmp and FutureTape, and this is why.
Yeah, and so I guess it sounds like it's a good idea to do it, even though Future Tape and Spinamp, et cetera, maybe Ooh La La as well. I'm not exactly sure how it works for them, but um, if they're currently right now pulling the audio from the animation URL, it sounds like the move is the best course of action for like me as a creator and for other creators trying to do this is to make it how it's ideal for me. So what do I want people to see when they go to
Yeah.
OpenSea or go anywhere? I want them to
Right.
see my moving artwork with the song. I want them to experience the song that way. That being
Yes.
said, it currently may not work. The audio may not go into Future Tape and Spinamp correctly right now, but it sounds like a situation where we can have a little bit of trust that the platforms are going to catch up with this and be able to do it, as opposed to trying to work within the constraints of the platforms. It
I,
seems like that's the move.
I would think of it like the formation of the universe, in that very early on, or even the planet Earth, very early on, you had like magma and everything was very liquid and movable. And so there was a lot of opportunity to kind of shape where the continents were forming. And then as time passed, the lava cooled and things became harder and harder to change. And so we've got OpenSea, which is this massive beast, and it has its standards. And if Jack in the Way reaches out to OpenSea and says, "Hey, will you please consume my credits and display those on page?" They don't have time for you. And
Yeah.
so I think it's better for you to build your experience how you want OpenSea to consume it, and build into OpenSea's model, because it's going to be easier for you to build to them than to try to have them build to you.
Mm-hmm.
Spinamp and Future Tape are two very new projects which have mostly targeted the big platforms and have not really come up with a good model for individual creators. However, they're having conversations with me about how we can index more individual creators on their platforms.
Mm.
And so I think it's an opportunity for us to make the metadata we want, and then to bring that metadata to Spinamp and Future Tape and say, "This is our metadata, here's how we think you should consume it." And then they will listen to us and change their system. There's a higher chance that they will listen to us and change their systems
Mm-hmm.
than if it was the other way. You know what I'm saying? So I think you should, my recommendation, put your animation URL as the video so that in OpenSea it works. And then after we drop on Monday, if it's not showing up at all in Spinamp or Future Tape, we'll reach out to them and get them to index it. And then if it's not indexing right, then we can talk to them again and be like, let's index it right. And I think we'll have more flexibility to get them to change.
Okay. Cool. Cool. The one interesting thing that I realized is that when I did my map to Wayspace, the free one with Zora, it's a video. And in
Yeah.
OpenSea, I'm actually, it's probably worth checking, and this is probably worth keeping in mind for us. That when I go to it, the video does play in
Mm-hmm.
OpenSea, but it also in Future Tape, I was added to the present material playlist thing. That was Songcamp's
Mm-hmm.
thing where I added this to, and the music plays seamlessly in Future Tape as well.
Really?
So that's interesting. Yeah.
Great. Well, then they're already handling it. So
So
that sounds like an extra reason to just use your visualizer, right?
yeah, for sure. And then if there's a problem, we can reach out. But I mean, the fact that they know me, they obviously know you. So I think would be okay there. So I appreciate that. I really appreciate these moments of sort of like philosophy around this, because I think it helps us form, like move, look at the map the right way, so to speak, to use my
Mhm.
metaphors. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah. I think Lucas just said it. Lucas was like, very liquid and malleable. I see it. We're first movers, so let's move first. It's nice having the Zoom call because they can contribute with like these
Yeah,
little words without having to unmute.
yeah,
Thanks for
absolutely.
contributing, Lucas.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's see where we're at. I was probably talking for a while. We might have missed a couple purchases.
Oh yeah.
What are we at in drops created?
Let's
We
see.
are at
Let's
we're at
see.
12. Okay, so we've
Okay.
reached the end of the drop now, and so we can only buy the last two. Um, next
uh,
time we'll try to be more active to actually
yeah,
buy
yeah.
each of them.
It's all good. I mean, this is. It's still nice to just see that that this actually happens. Should we try
Mhm.
purchase bundle?
I've only been doing the purchase bundle,
Oh,
and
okay. Okay. Cool.
so yeah, I think that's a good option.
Okay.
Purchase bundle's been working good for me. It sounds like purchase is working fine for you.
Yep. It is.
I'll do them both.
Okay. I'm gonna try as well. Yeah. So this actually creates also scarcity just in terms of later in the drops. That the 12, assuming more people know about Wayspace at the end, that number 12 is going to be more abundant, less scarce number of editions than number 2 as well, which is really nice that it's just working this way. Okay. see. Where's my? Okay, there we go. Oh, oh, interesting. I wonder if it's something on my end.
Is it not? Is it giving you an error?
Yeah, it said contract transaction failed.
I did too the first couple times, and then I refreshed the page and it worked fine. It might have third
Oh,
web might
I
have
have
been.
to put I have to put in quantity too. Or
You do need to put in a quantity. Okay, I was able to buy the bundle.
okay, so, yeah, because obviously to buy the bundle you wouldn't purchase one, you'd be purchasing two.
No,
Oh,
you'll want to buy you'll want to buy one copy of the bundle, quantity of
okay,
one for the.
okay, that's what I did. For some reason, let me reload the page.
Try just refreshing the page. It might have just
Yeah.
cached.
Oh, I did just realize it's supposed to be for 0.0333, not 0.0222.
That is also correct.
Okay, so let's see how this goes now. All right. So yeah, for anybody listening, that's the way it's going to work. You can buy one for 0.0222 ETH, or you can buy two at a time for 0.0333. So you just get 0.0111 off if you get them both. It's part of that as I was saying, my mantra for this: reward early supporters without punishing newcomers, as they say. Okay, yeah, there we go. It went through. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. There's number 12, number 11, and number 12.
Are they showing up with the right metadata?
Let me take a look at All in My Head, for example. Looks like the photo's still loading. Yes. BPM, genre, key, runtime, track number.
You got all your custom stuff in there. Look at that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Cool. I see the image finally loaded for All in My Head.
Okay, great. We reload the page. Oh, and then there's also refresh metadata, right?
Very cohesive artwork you've got.
Thanks, dude. It all came from that original music video I did on using Manifold.
I'm noticing.
Yeah, each line was a
The,
different image.
the more I tune into your stuff, the more I see that it is all connected. I'm really loving working with you because it's like everything has been very intentional so far, and it all connects. Everything you're telling one cohesive narrative with this.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Yeah. This one is cool because I used a reference for this one, and if you look in the middle of the head, it looks like like the negative space is a person walking. It's kind of hard to tell, but from the reference image. But anyway, yeah, things like that. I love Easter eggs. I played Pokemon as a kid, so that's where that comes from.
So a couple things that have jumped out to me as we're doing this. I believe we have a withdraw function in here right now, potentially, or maybe we don't even have a withdraw function in here. There's not even a withdrawal function in here. Okay, so what is money just sitting in the contract?
That would be helpful.
I think money is just sitting in the contract, right? Money is just sitting in the contract with no way to be removed right now. So I need three things that I've got that I need to do before our next call. We need to have purchase song so that you can buy a specific song, and that's something we'll use on our front end UI, so that they can buy all 12. I'm gonna make it so the payment automatically goes to 0x splits. I don't think we want a withdraw function in here. It will cost a tiny bit more gas for purchasers, but the funds will go directly from their wallets through the contract directly into the 0x splits. And so when you're looking for the balance for each of the songs, you're not gonna look on our contract. You're gonna look into each of your, I think it's less than 12 splits. I think you'll look in each of the splits and you'll see the balance for each of those splits there.
Yeah, I think we had not 10 total, 11 total. I forgot.
Yeah, and maybe an opportunity to talk about if we want to streamline any of the processes for the splits. We can potentially do it now, or we can talk about making it an additional admin page. But are you familiar with the 4 steps of splits of create, split, receive funds, distribute, and withdraw?
As far as on 0x splits or just in general, I don't think I'm that
on
familiar.
0x splits.
It just makes sense what you just said, but
So you've already created the 4 splits. So the creation process is done. You already have all your splits. The earning is going to be automatic. We're going to have money go into there. And then there's going to be money sitting inside of the splits. And then we're going to have those last two of distribute and withdraw.
Uh-huh.
And so you can do both of those inside of the 0x Splits app. You can distribute and then give the money to each of the recipients, but then each of the recipients are going to need to come in and withdraw their funds.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, some of these people, it's their first, you got them to start set up their wallet. And so the idea that they come in and withdraw funds by paying Ethereum gas to receive their funds, they might not understand. And so one thing we could do, and as I'm saying this isn't something we necessarily need to do before drop. Maybe after drop, I create an admin page for you that shows like, here's each of your splits. You can click one button and then you can distribute as well as withdraw the split. And so you can look at the balances for each of your split, click a button, and then you can withdraw the split for them. And you would then in that case also collect the distributor fee that you set. And so you can get a little extra cut while distributing to your people. And so that from all of your collaborators' perspective, the money just shows up in their wallets. They never need to go to the 0x Splits app if we build that way.
Right. And I become that person who does the distribution of it, and that 2% that we put in there that goes to,
or whoever. Like I could see myself using that page as well.
Sure.
And we can make it public and share so that if someone else wants to do that, it becomes then a public good that it becomes a page that anybody can leverage for the benefit of everybody in the Wayspace project.
Awesome. Sounds great. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. I think I appreciate you saying that, just sharing that, because I didn't realize that we would need that. I guess
it's not a need, it's a nice to have. It's definitely not a need to ship, but the downside if we don't have it is some of your collaborators might not realize they have money, and so money might just sit in 0x Splits, not moving anywhere and not being useful to them.
Right. Okay. Well, sounds great. That's wonderful.
So the three things, I got lost there. So the three things: 1, purchase a specific song; 2, payment goes into the 0x Splits; and 3, the airdrop. Right now we don't have that mechanism so that if they collect all 12, they get it. So I need to add that mechanism in. And then the other thing is I'm going to plug us in with, the first thing I'm going to do is plug us in with the metadata renderer. That way it'll work on Vol.fm. Those are the 4 things I'm seeing. Are there other things that are jumping out to you think I'm missing from a technology perspective that we'll want to have by this time tomorrow?
No, I can't think of anything.
Are you okay with this launch path of me really focusing on the smart contract and then potentially cleaning up and doing the UI after the Monday launch?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially because I just didn't realize that we could do that after the Monday launch, but it makes sense now. Now, because of the way you talked through it, I understand that, like, as far as UI, that can always be updated and refined and adjusted. And in some ways, it's kind of nice. Like I could then that gives me time to, like, learn some things about UI so that I could actually add to it, assuming that would work. Like if I really went in on it and learned some things and be able to create my own custom UI, similar to like what Vol did, like what Lucas from Vol did.
The ideal is we do have your UI by Monday, but for the initial launch, my MVP, if I can't do that full vision, we'll have it working so that the first place people can buy is inside of Vol.fm. So people can go onto Vol.fm and only buy song number 2 there. And that's like minimum. By Monday, you can do that on Vol.fm, and then hopefully all goes well. We will also have your site ready by Monday. But if we don't, it doesn't sound like that's a reason to cancel the drop and change it.
No. Yeah, and you were also saying, I guess this is the last question before we go, is that potentially we could plug into Zora as far as like both. Well, you were talking about Zora's metadata renderer, is that right? And
we're going to be using Zora's metadata renderer. There's 3 things here. Zora metadata render is a hyperstructure contract. Anybody can use that permissionlessly. There's the Zora UI for Zora drops, which would be an interface where people could go to actually mint your tokens that do not exist. That would require talking to the Zora team, and I don't know that they have any standard for bringing in drops that were not created on their full stack of contracts, because we have some custom, we're not building directly on top of Zora drops. We're kind of plugging into the Zora Drops ecosystem. And that one feels very unlikely, but potential if we can talk to Zora Engineering. And then the third is just making it so that when people go onto Zora.co and they look up Wayspace, they'll see your album and they'll see the tokens that were minted, and they can sell the tokens on Zora that they've already minted. And that one is a low lift. We just have to reach out. They have a channel in Discord, and we reach out. I think it's like contract indexing. We give them our contract address, and then they will add that to Zora, and that's a low lift.
Cool.
So the two on the end feel easy to me. Trying to get your drop to show up so that people can mint your drop on Zora feels like it's not out of the question, but it feels like a stretch.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Cool. Great. And a lot of that, like we were saying, like reaching out to them on Discord, that's something we do after we ship, obviously, because then we'll have the contract address. So it's nice. Like we actually know that we don't have to worry about that right now.
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel really good about what you're going to be focusing on, which is building the contract, of course. I'm going to be focusing on getting all this metadata ready so that it's completely finalized for tomorrow, which will have an update of the credits with everything included, as well as in that visualizer URL or animation URL field, it'll have the visualizer so that in OpenSea and things like that, it shows the MP4 rather than just the audio.
That's kind of beautiful.
Yeah. And then in the meantime, let me know if there's anything that I can do that would make, us having our minting site, the UI, able to be, live and able for people to access, however simple it needs to be on Monday, like, when we have our, our later sort of like Wayspace debut spaces at 5 or whatever it's going to be, 6 p.m. your time. Let me know, because I'm definitely available, and if there's anything that I'm able to handle, I would love to be able to handle it, even if it's like, hey, here's like the code that needs to be written. These are things that you could probably input easily yourself. Let me know. But I also realized that I could end up creating more work for you by having to try to clean shit up. So don't get me wrong. I'm cool. Just want to be as open as I can to making this process easier and quicker and more efficient.
This raises a question. I'm making an assumption that we want the auction to start the moment you, we want the sale to start the moment you mint the contract. And so on Monday, you will deploy the contract, and as soon as you deploy it, the first sale will start.
Yeah.
Are we aligned in expectations there?
Yes, we are.
And then it will be open from the time you deploy the contract until, I've got it set to October 31st at 11:59 p.m. GMT. So I believe that's 3 hours ahead of Eastern time.
Okay.
And so that would look like, I believe, 9 p.m. Eastern time on Halloween. Are we okay with it being 9 p.m. on Halloween, which would be for the world, the official end of Halloween, but in Ohio and New York, it's a couple hours before the end of the day? Or would you prefer midnight on Halloween in Eastern time, which would officially be November 1st in some parts of the world, like Argentina?
Yeah, I think, which would be, like 12:59 a.m. Time in Argentina. I think that would make sense, just thinking about when I'm communicating the deadline to my audience. I just, I'm just recognizing the reality that most of my audience are on the same time zone as me, and I want to be cognizant of that. And that being said, I can still say different times in other places, but just know it's going to be 11:59 p.m. October 31st Eastern time is your last chance to grab this before the drop ends. And so people will have all day of Halloween, or ideally most of the day of Halloween, to both listen to the album on streaming platforms in the good old world of Web 2, as well as get their last chance to get their NFTs. So great. Thank you for
awesome. Other question that I had, I've got it set so that every 7 days it will kick off immediately the next one. And so that means when you start, if you do you plan on deploying it our noon call on Monday or our 5 p.m. call on Monday?
I would love to deploy it on the noon call or whenever we get it done. Oh yeah, noon your time. Right. Yeah, I would love to deploy it then. Yeah.
Okay. Because what that's going to mean is that the following week at the same time on Monday, at the exact same moment that you deployed, the following week will be when the next one opens. And so you've already scheduled out once a week a Twitter space. And so what that can lead for our storytelling is in that Twitter space each week, we can watch it go where at the start of the call, the song is not available. And then at whatever moment we were able to get the contract shipped, it then opens up the new sale. And so like
Ah,
halfway through the call, it opens up the minting for the next one. And I just want to make sure that like you're aware that's how the mechanism works, is like 7 days exactly from whenever you deploy the contract, the next one
okay.
will open up, and that'll be true
Okay.
up until we reach the final round.
Okay, great. So I think then, that being said, then probably the way to do it is, so that the this coming Monday, we're going to deploy the contract sometime between noon to 1 p.m. Argentina time. And what that means, I yeah, definitely hear what you're saying about it. It'll be exactly 7 days after. Our Twitter space, that'll be later in the afternoon, which will be after Songcamp's heartbeat call, is going to be at 5 p.m. my time, 6 p.m. your time, which I know this specific day you are able to do. But then in the future, I think then it makes sense for the Twitter space to be like, whatever, like we plan it around whenever we deploy. That
Mhm.
so it would be something more like sometime between 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Argentina time each Monday. What do you think about
It's
that?
not that. I didn't realize we didn't have it at that time right now.
Yeah.
That makes sense, and I agree. And that timing works really good for me. If we move it
Okay.
to 11 a.m. your time, 12 p.m. my time,
Okay.
that I would love that. We
Great.
can talk about it more, but I would love if we move to that timing.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. I just changed it.
Cool.
Great. So it'll be
Are
11
you
a.m.
okay with
Eastern
that
time.
mechanism? I don't want to over restrict your creativity. So
Oh no,
is that
dude, I
mechanism
love
okay?
that. No, I love
Okay,
that. It makes it so fun.
awesome.
And then, on the 19th, on the 19th, since we're going to be deploying at that time, it'll be nice to have, I think, a moment on Twitter Spaces later in the day, especially since you'll be free at that time, where we can kind of reflect on it. And it's like we have the relief. Yes, we've deployed. The ship is out to sea, and now we can, just hang out and talk about the process, reflect a little bit as we get hyped for the rest of the week. And then, obviously, later in the week, I'm gonna definitely. I'm this weekend. I'm gonna be working on writing a mirror post that I'm tentatively calling the road to deployment, and that'll be sort of like the first report from Wayspace, and then we'll have future ones after that as we have up more ideas and things like that. So cool,
Wow.
cool.
From my perspective, summary at the end of this call, I'm feeling a little bit behind, and I'm feeling like I'm underperforming a little bit. So my goal is going to really be to be focusing the rest of the day and shipping, so that tomorrow I feel more comfortable.
Okay.
Any apps from you from how you're feeling to talk?
Um. Well, the first one is just gratitude. I feel so much gratitude. I'm so grateful for this for so many reasons. First of all, I'm grateful to be working with you. I'm so grateful that it just happened that the you know the timelines of our projects and lives and working patterns lined up that such that we were able to work on this together, such that I had an album's worth of material ready for that first call we had. So I feel a lot of gratitude up until this point, and it's been just a wonderful few weeks. I think it's only been like 4 weeks since we first chatted. It's amazing how fast this works, and yet it feels like we're just surfing a really awesome wave right now. Um, and yeah, and other than the gratitude, I feel um, excited. I feel motivation. I feel a sense of concentration, as far as I know. I've got a sticky note of exactly the things that I'm going to do to have all this metadata ready. So I feel a certain sense of relief in that, and knowing that I have the time to do it today. And I feel equipped. I feel like we are equipped. I feel very equipped um, to do what we need to do here. And I know it's going to be great. So yeah, yeah.
Throwing it into the audience. If anyone in the audience, I'm looking at the Twitter space, if anyone wants to raise their hands and come up and ask a question, anyone that's in the Zoom video want to come in and ask. Jack, maybe while we're waiting to see if anyone wants to raise their hand or come up, do you have any thoughts around what we're going to do with this video after this call is over? Do you plan to ship it immediately, or do you plan on like doing some filtering on it and not necessarily shipping the raw thing?
I actually like the idea of shipping the raw thing. I
Me
could
too.
see I could see it existing as well in some a bit more of a curated fashion later on, like a full video with all of our Zoom recordings, where it's like, the road to deployment, the movie kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I don't feel particularly attached to that being how it's going to be, right now. I think the best thing would be, and assuming you're okay with it, I can just put this up on my YouTube channel today, and then we
Please.
have part one, and it'll just be Wayspace or deploying Wayspace part one, and then I'll have it as a playlist on YouTube as well, so that each one that we have, we can just add to it and just keep adding to it, and that way we have a track record super easily.
What I hate, what I hate to see, I love your vision. What I hate to see is people, we record something like this and we talk about publishing and then it gets into perfectionism mode and never gets out. And so
Yeah.
to counter that, what I usually do is as soon as the call is over, I upload it to YouTube. I put some title and description on and then I ship
Cool.
it. That way it's like,
Yes.
we can refine it afterwards. Let's get this
Yes.
content out so that because
Yes.
there are too many projects and we forget about publishing sometimes.
I completely agree. We can let all that perfectionism go. We don't need it. So, yeah, so I'm going to ship that right after we get off of this call. As soon as the Zoom recording loads, I'll have my YouTube open and ready to do it. Ooh, looks like Shamanic is asking a question. Superstar Dev, yeah. You comment in relative places, then publish proper later. Oh, true, yeah. Yeah, it could be unlisted. Um, that's an interesting thought. What do you think about the unlisted thing, Sweets? Or do you think public is better? Just let it go.
I build in public. It's a great option. I lean on the side of let me
Cool.
publish.
Cool. Just making a note of the tasks. Oh, yes. Did you want to respond, say anything?
Um, would love to chat more, Lucas. I'm not gonna lie, I am very oversubscribed on projects, and so being loving of myself, Sweets, make sure that you're not oversubscribing and saying yes to too many people. I would love to help you in any way possible, Lucas, and let's chat more. I would love to help you in some capacity, and I think that anything else?
No, that's it. I think I think as we can be respectful and allowing people to have a healthy balance, it allows us to have a healthy balance as well. And I actually will say that was a moment I remember a little while back, a couple weeks ago, when you reached out to me to talk about just the fact that there was so much you were doing around the merge. I mean, there was Jonathan Mann's album. There's just all the shipping that you had to do for that. And I have to say, I really appreciated it, not just from a perspective of really great communication between team members, but also that it reminded me to do the same for myself. And I was really, really overbooked for those 2 weeks. And it gave me both the feeling of support and also inspiration to take some things off my plate. And so, just as a personal anecdote and as, anybody watching, I think if you can use this as a reason to take some things off your plate, if you're having trouble taking care of yourself, which is the most important thing, please do so. Please do so. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Shamanic. So glad.
Yeah, thank you for everything, Shamanic. It's been really nice having you in the call and
Yeah.
being someone else so that it's not just Jack and I talking back and forth.
Yeah. For some context, Shamanic was part of Chaos with me, also member of Song Camp. Really amazing, and has been doing Daily Waves, which is Jonathan Mann's monthly daily creation challenge.
Okay. That's really good content.
Amazing beatboxer. Also just interviewed them for a podcast as well. Amazing experience.
Okay.
Just a wonderful person, Shamanic, if I may say, just to talk to and chat with. So
This is what
very
helps.
interesting, creative.
When friends give positive words of affirmation,
Yeah.
it helps me to understand and prioritize people. Yeah, Shamanic, let's chat more if you need some help. Let's definitely chat. You're the captain. You want to wrap up this call. Any final notes that you've got for the community? This is day one. What we have 48 hours until Wayspace is going to be shipped live. How do you want to sign us off, Captain?
Captain Jack. All right. First of all, everybody, thank you so much. So glad to welcome you to Wayspace, as I've been saying. I'm so excited for you to hear this music, see all the content. I really appreciate you taking the time to see this Deploying Wayspace, the Road to Deployment episode here. So grateful to Sweets for your time. So grateful to Singnasty, who's on the Twitter space and will probably join us on the Zooms over the next few days, who's been the creative advisor to this project. Thank you to the communities I'm a part of for all the inspiration. Thank you to all the people that are building tools that allow us to be able to do this. It is such a blessing to be able to experience my creativity this way. If you asked me 12 years ago what I could have imagined, it could not have been this, because I didn't have the opportunities and the ideas to be able to imagine releasing an album this way. And this is beyond what my dreams were. And so thank you so much, everybody. I'm so grateful. Um, and with that, I think we can go. We can hop off the Zoom, and I'm just gonna play a song on the Twitter Space to let it go out. But as far as yeah, on the Zoom, we can salute it and hit peace. All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks, Sweets.